They told you to fear it. Doctors even warned you to avoid it. But what if everything you thought you knew about salt was wrong? Welcome to Moreko, your number one channel for health tips and holistic living. You are in the right destination, so tap on the subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell to be part of this community, and above all, to live healthy. Let's dive right to this interesting topic. For decades, salt has been called the silent killer. It has been blamed for high blood pressure, heart disease, and even strokes. But here is the twist. New research currently suggests that salt might not be the villain we've made it out to be, and cutting it so much even could harm your health. Yes, that is just the reality. So stick around. Stick right here. Watch this very video to the end to discover this controversial topic. Is it really true that salt as an essential mineral has been unfairly accused? Or could it be that it is actually right? This video will talk about the science and controversial issue, and the truth is that it will really shock you to discover all this. So watch this very video to the end and get to tell us your concern and understanding in the comment section. Please remember to subscribe because more health tips will be coming up. Watch it right now.
As long as I can remember, we've been told one simple thing: cut back on salt, that it's public enemy number one for a healthy heart. But what if the real story is a lot more complicated? What if, for some of us, being so strict about slashing salt could actually be a mistake? And what if our fear of the salt shaker is making us miss where the real danger is hiding? Today, we're looking into science and the controversy surrounding salt. We'll break down the official guidelines, explore the debate that's calling them into question, and most importantly, uncover a smarter way to think about sodium for your heart. My goal is to help you stop guessing and start making choices that truly make sense for your body. Medical disclaimer. This video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare professional before making changes to your diet or health regimen. Okay, first things first, let's be clear that the mainstream medical advice isn't just made up. It's built on a mountain of research from big organizations like the World Health Organization and the American Heart Association. Their guidelines are pretty clear. Most adults should aim for no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day. That's about what you'd find in a single level teaspoon of table salt. For a lot of people, especially anyone with high blood pressure, the ideal target is even lower, around 1,500 milligrams. So why the strict limit? The logic is actually pretty simple. When you eat a lot of salt, your body holds on to extra water to try and dilute it. This increases the total volume of blood in your blood vessels. Imagine turning up the pressure in a garden hose. That's basically what's happening inside your arteries. Over time, this chronic high blood pressure or hypertension wears down your arteries, makes your heart work way too hard, and seriously increases your risk for heart attack and stroke, which are the leading causes of death worldwide. And the numbers are pretty sobering. The average American is eating over 3,300 milligrams of sodium every single day, way over the limit. The World Health Organization estimates the global average is even higher, at a staggering 4,300 milligrams. This isn't just a minor dietary oops. It's a massive public health problem linked to millions of premature deaths every year. So, the push to cut back on sodium comes from a very real place. For many people, lowering salt intake does lower blood pressure, and that's a huge win for reducing cardiovascular risk. But this is where the story gets a little messy and frankly a bit confusing. There's been a fiery debate simmering in the world of nutrition science for years, and it centers on something called the J-shaped curve. Here's what happened. Some huge studies, like the well-known PURE study, followed tens of thousands of people and found something that made a lot of experts raise their eyebrows. They discovered that the relationship between salt and health might not be a straight line where less is always better. Instead, the data looked more like the letter J. This suggested that while a very high sodium intake was linked to more heart problems, so was a very low intake, anything under about 3,000 milligrams a day. According to these studies, the sweet spot for the lowest risk, the very bottom of that J, was actually in a more moderate range of 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day. Now hold on. Before you run to the kitchen and start doing salt shots, it is crucial to understand the context here. These findings are extremely controversial. Many top scientists have pointed out some pretty big potential flaws. One of the main issues is reverse causality. The thinking is, maybe the low salt isn't causing the health problems. Instead, people who are already sick just tend to eat less food overall, and because of that, they eat less salt. So, the sickness is causing the low sodium intake, not the other way around. On top of that, it's incredibly difficult to accurately track how much salt someone really eats, and some experts believe these measurement errors could be creating the illusion of that J-shaped curve. Because of these very serious concerns, major health organizations like the American Heart Association and the WHO have looked at all this new evidence and have decided not to change their recommendations. They are sticking to the idea that the best, most reliable research still supports cutting sodium to below 2,300 milligrams for most people. So, does that mean the risk of going too low on salt is completely made up? Well, not quite. While it might not be a major concern for most healthy people, there are specific situations where being too aggressive with salt restriction can cause real problems. The strongest evidence we have is for patients with heart failure. Several recent studies, including a massive analysis presented to the American College of Cardiology, found that when these patients cut their sodium below 2,500 milligrams a day, they actually had a higher risk of death compared to those with a more moderate intake. For people whose bodies are already struggling with a delicate fluid and hormonal balance, it seems that being overly restrictive can do more harm than good. Then there's a condition called hyponatremia, which is when the sodium levels in your blood drop dangerously low. Now, this isn't something the average person just trying to eat a healthier diet needs to lose sleep over. It usually only happens in very specific scenarios, like with an endurance athlete who drinks tons of plain water without replacing electrolytes, or in older adults who have kidney problems or are on certain medications that flush out sodium. The key takeaway here is that context is everything. While the fear of a dangerously low salt diet might be overblown for the general public, the idea that less is always better for salt definitely has some important exceptions. So, if the official advice is to cut back, but the science is full of drama, what are we actually supposed to do? The answer is to completely change where we're looking. For the vast majority of us, the problem isn't the salt shaker sitting on the dinner table. The real problem is the invisible salt that's loaded into our food before we even buy it. According to the American Heart Association and the FDA, over 70%, let that sink in, 70%, of the sodium we eat comes from packaged, processed, and restaurant foods. It's not about what you sprinkle on your meal, it's about what's already baked, canned, and mixed in. And who are the top offenders? You might be surprised. Things like bread, pizza, sandwiches, cold cuts, canned soups, and even burritos. Just one slice of pizza can have over 600 milligrams of sodium. A single can of soup can easily top 1,000 milligrams. Even foods that don't taste particularly salty, like cottage cheese or breakfast cereal, can be packed with it to improve the flavor and make them last longer on the shelf. This is the salt that adds up, without you ever even picking up the shaker. And the biggest culprits of all are ultra-processed foods, which now make up more than half the calories in the average American diet. This is the whole game right here. When we fixate on the salt shaker, we're completely missing the forest for the trees. We're busy counting tiny grains of salt while a tidal wave of sodium is flooding in through our groceries and takeout. This all leads to a solution that's both simpler and much more effective than trying to count every single milligram. The goal isn't just to eat less salt, it's to eat better food. First, stop counting milligrams and start focusing on food quality. Instead of stressing over the pinch of salt you add to your roasted vegetables, put your energy into where your food comes from in the first place. When you cook with whole, fresh ingredients, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, whole grains, you are in control. Honestly, you would have to try really hard to get anywhere near the amount of sodium found in a single frozen dinner when you're cooking from scratch. Making that one shift basically solves the problem. Second, learn to read a food label like a pro. In the modern world, this is a non-negotiable skill. When you pick up something in a package, flip it over and look at the nutrition facts panel. Check the serving size, and then check the milligrams of sodium. A great rule of thumb is to aim for foods with 140 milligrams of sodium or less per serving. That's the official definition of a low-sodium food. And be wary of claims like reduced sodium. That just means it has 25% less than the original product, which could still be a massive amount. Third, Give your taste buds time to adjust. If you're used to a high salt diet, food without it is probably going to taste bland at first. That's completely normal. But the amazing thing is your palate adapts. If you slowly cut back on the processed salt for just a few weeks, two cool things will happen. You'll start to taste the actual flavor of your food, and those super salty things you used to enjoy will suddenly taste overwhelmingly, almost disgustingly salty. You just have to give your taste buds a chance to reset. Fourth, weaponize your spice rack. Salt is an easy and cheap way to make things taste good, which is exactly why food companies rely on it so heavily. But it is not the only way. Get familiar with herbs and spices. Things like garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, cumin, oregano, chili powder, and black pepper can add incredible flavor with zero sodium. And don't forget about acid. A squeeze of lemon or a splash of vinegar right at the end of cooking can brighten up the entire dish and trick your brain into thinking it's tasting salt. The WHO even suggests looking into potassium-based salt substitutes, which can actually help lower blood pressure. So let's circle back to our original question. Is your low-salt diet a mistake? For most of us, the goal of reducing sodium is absolutely the right one, and it's backed by a ton of evidence. The mistake isn't the goal itself, it's the strategy. The real mistake is obsessing over the salt shaker, while the vast majority of our sodium, over 70%, is hidden in processed foods. It's focusing on a single nutrient instead of the overall quality of our diet. The science around salt is definitely complicated, and that whole debate over the J-shaped curve proves we still have a lot to learn. But here's the good news. The practical advice is the same no matter which side of that debate you land on. Eat more whole, unprocessed foods. When you do that, your sodium intake naturally falls into a healthier range, you get more beneficial nutrients like potassium, and you improve your heart health for the long run. This isn't about declaring war on salt, it's about prioritizing real food. If this video helped clear up some of the confusion for you, then I think you'll want to check out my video on 10 gut healing spices. Just click the link on your screen, and let's keep going on this journey to better health together.